Okay, so this is just a little review. I've already sent you one of the previous videos, but place value, remember the decimal says and. To the left of the decimal are your whole numbers, and it starts with 1, 10s, and hundreds. This comma tells you it's 1, 10s, 100, 1,000. Once you pass the comma, it's 1, 10, 100, million. And then when you pass the next comma, it would be 1s, 10s, 100s, and that would be billions. And then you have your decimals, which are your 3 digits to the right of the decimal. Okay, those are your decimal numbers. The first one is the tenths, then the hundredths, and thousandths. So if you notice, it goes in order. Decimals don't have a ones place, so we skip the ones place, but then it's tens, hundredths, thousandths. Okay, so ones, tens, 100, 1,000, or thousands place, 10,000, 100,000. To the right of the decimal, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. That's written either decimal 1, decimal 01, decimal 001, or 1 over 10, 1 over 100, 1 over 1,000. Okay? Standard form is just numbers. Okay? When they're asking for number form or standard form, they're just wanting the numbers. Okay? Your answer would be in numbers. Expanded notation is where you break the number apart by place value. For example, the number 362 and 43 thousandths. The 3 is in the hundreds place, so that's 3 times 100, plus 6 times 10, because it's in the tens place, plus 2 times 1, because the 2 is in the ones place, plus 4 times 0.01, 0.01, so in the hundreds place, plus 3 times 0.001, because it's in the thousandths place. Now, again, you could depict the expanded notation using decimals or fractions. Okay, but one thing I want you to pay attention to is wherever the 1 is, that's where that number is located. So if you notice, there's 1, 2, 3 digits. So 1, 2, 3 digits. The third digit is a 3. 1, 2 digits. The 1 is the second digit. 1, 2. There's a 6. Okay, 2 and 1, it's in the same place, so the 2 is in the ones place. 4 times 0.01, so the 4 is in the 1, 2 spaces to the right of the decimal. 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay, 3 times 0.001, so there's decimal, 1, 2, the third place is where the 1 is. So decimal, 1, 2, the third place, that's where the 3 is. Okay, so it's based on wherever the 1 is in your number that you're breaking apart. All right, then we have written form. Written form is words, okay? So it's when you take a number and you put it into word form. You're speaking it, okay? However you say the number is how you're going to write it. So if you look at this one, 502.403, that's 502. The decimal says and 403. That last digit is in the thousandths place. So it's 502 and 403 thousandths. And I wrote it just like I said it. 502 and, that's the decimal, 403 thousandths. All right, and write this number in standard form. All right, so here's this number, 5 times 100,000 plus 4 times 1,000 plus 6 times 100 plus 5 times 10 plus 4 times 0.01 plus 7 times 0.001. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to look at the biggest number, which is this one right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 place values. So I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 place values. And then I'm going to put a decimal. The last decimal, the last number is decimal 001. So there's 3 places behind the decimal. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Now all I have to do is fill in the information. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 spaces to the left, I'm going to put a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, 4 times 1,000. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the fourth place, I'm going to put the number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 6 times 100. 1, 2. In the third place, I'm going to put a 6. 1, 2, 3. All right. 5 times 10. 1, 2 places. So in the second place, I'm going to put a 5. 1, 2. All right. 4 times 0.01. So now I'm going to go to the right of the decimal, 2 places, and put a 4. So here's the decimal. Go over 2 places and put a 4. 7 times 1,000ths. So here's my decimal. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 places over and put a 7. So there's the decimal. 1, 2, 3. Put a 7. And then now all I have to do is fill in the holes. And when you fill in the holes, you're putting zeros. So your number is 504,650 and 47 thousandths. Okay. The next one was 7,460 and 25 thousandths in standard form. So 7,460. 460. Now, there's and, so that means all of this before it is a whole number. So 7,460. And, tells me the decimal, 25 thousandths. That means 25, okay, if you'd have put 25 like that, that's 25 hundredths because the 5 is the second digit, and that would have been the hundredths place. If you would do 0.205, that's 205 thousandths. So the only way to put 25 thousandths is the 2 in the hundredths place and the 5 in the thousandths. 25 thousandths. Means you fill in with a 0. Okay, write in expanded form or notation this problem. 6 times 1,000. 4 times 100. 2 times 10. 4 times 1. 5 is the first decimal, so that's the tenths place. So I did 5 times 1/10. 9 is in the thousandths place, so I did 9 times 1,000. I don't need anything for this 0 because it's going to be a whole, so we just leave it blank. Okay? All right. Rounding. We are going to underline the place value you're rounding to, and then hook to the right. The number you hook to tells the underlined number either to go up or stay the same. So if the number on the right is 4 or less, the underlined digit stays the same. If the number on the right is 5 or more, the underlined digit is going to up the score, which means you're going to go up by 1 digit. Okay? All the numbers to the right of the underlined digit are going to become a 0. All right, if we're going to round 4 and 376 thousandths to the tenths place, the 3 is in the tenths place. The 3 is going to hook to the 7. The 7 is going to say up the score. 3 is going to become a 4. And 7 and 6 both become 0. So your answer is 4 and 4/10. Okay. If I'm going to take 9 and 754 thousandths and round to the hundredths place, 5 is in the hundredths place. 5 is going to hook to the 4. The 4 says rest. So the 5 stays the same and the 4 becomes a 0. Okay. Okay, so after rounding, we're going to talk about comparing numbers. This symbol is less than, this one is greater than, and then equal to. So if we're talking about comparing numbers, okay, we have to understand and know what those symbols look like, okay, and how to read it. So you have to know that this reads 51 is less than 64, okay, or that 104 and 5/10 is the same as 104 and 50 hundredths. Those are equal. Okay, you have to know that 46 and 4/10 is greater than 46 and 37 hundredths. Okay, it's all in how you read it, and it's just like a sentence. You're going to read it from left to right. Okay, we're going to compare by lining up numbers by the place value and the decimals if there is one. So if there's a decimal, you're going to line up by the decimal, which means the place values should also fall in place. Okay, so if I have the number Okay, if I have these two numbers, I'm going to compare them, greater than, less than, or equal to. So I'm going to take one number and I'm going to line it up under the other. So they both have a decimal. So there's 3 digits before that decimal. So I'm going to put 4, 3, 6, lining up the place values and the decimal. And then 3, 2. I have a hole here, so I'm going to fill it in with a 0. And then we compare, starting at the biggest place value. So that's the hundreds place. 4 and 4 are the same. 3 and 3 are the same. 6 and 6 are the same. Decimals are lined up. 3 and 3. 2 and 2. 4 and 0 are not the same. 4 is bigger. So that means this one is 436 and 32 hundredths is less than 436 and 324 thousandths. Okay? It's all about comparing those numbers and comparing those place values. You have this in your notes from the beginning of the year. If not, you can go back to look at your videos. Okay? The assignment that you have is strictly place value, rounding, and then comparing ordering. Okay? If you have questions, please send me a message.